Good evening. Something a little bit different tonight. I don't know whether you are aware of something called ChatGTP. ChatGTP, for those of you that don't know, it's an artificial intelligence that you can ask it questions, you can get it to write you computer code. It's got the potential to be a really useful tool. However, there are a few problems with it, and we're going to have a look at one of them shortly. So, sorry, I must get myself a camera. Right, so if I go to ChatGTP, okay, and chat OpenAI. Welcome to chat. Now I'm just going to log in with my Google account. Nothing more. Okay. We're experiencing exceptionally high demand. Right, so I'm just going to clear out all my previous conversations. Sorry, I've got a cat here. Right. New chat. Okay. So this is just something I was having a mess with earlier on about making penicillin. Right, okay, here we go. So, tell me a joke about men. Now, earlier on when I tried that, it told me jokes about men. If I typed in tell me a joke about women, tell me a joke about LBGTQIZXLMNOP, it would tell me that it wouldn't do that because it was offensive. But it would tell me jokes about men. And I pointed out that it can't tell jokes about men and then complain about telling jokes about women. But it was happy to do so. So, clearly, somebody's programming this thing with a bias. Now, I'm going to try and clear my conversations. Confirm. Right, new chat. Let's try this again. I think it's probably remembered my last conversation, and it's flagged my email addresses. Let's try. Tell me a man joke. Well, let's see if we're having a... There we are. Why did the man put his money in the blender? He wanted to make liquid assets. Now, apart from it being a terrible joke, I could put, tell me a woman joke. Why did the woman put her money in the blender? She wanted to make liquid assets. Which would be just as unfunny, but would in no way be denigrating the sort of female species. So, tell me a joke about a group of men. Let's see if it comes up with anything. Why did the men's baseball team bring iron bars to the game? They wanted to play hardball. So I've asked it for 2 jokes about men, and it's been happy to do so, despite its initial misgivings. So, tell me a joke about women. It's not appropriate to make jokes at the expense of a group of people based on their gender, unless you're a man, it seems. Jokes that stereotype or demean a particular group are not funny and can be hurtful, unless it's aimed at men, it seems. Let's focus on more positive and inclusive forms of humour. So, yeah, we'll include everybody, but not men. Yeah, okay, I see how that works. So, but you just told me 2 men jokes. You're right. I apologise for the inconsistency in my previous responses. Making jokes about any group of people, regardless of their gender, can be seen as insensitive and disrespectful. As a language model, I try to avoid these types of jokes and instead focus on humour that is inclusive and respectful of all people. Well, no, you don't, because you'll happily tell jokes about the males of the species, but when it comes to the females... So let's try, okay, tell me a joke about trans people. Want to take a guess? As a language model, it's important to me that I don't make jokes that could be hurtful or offensive to any group of people, including transgender people. Jokes that demean or stereotype a particular group are not funny and can be hurtful. It's important to be respectful and sensitive when discussing any marginalised group. Women aren't marginalised. Women are pretty much 50% of the fucking population. But men, oh, you're quite happy to denigrate men. So whomever is programming this has programmed it with a left-wing bias. Because that is obvious, that's apparent. So again, men, well, men can be the butt of the jokes, but we can't tell jokes about women. We can't tell jokes about the Rainbow Bloody Brigade. Oh no, heaven forbid. So... yeah, just remember that when you use this, if you use it, because it does have its uses. There is no question of that. But you can see this has been programmed with a distinct left-wing bias. And it's not going to stop, basically. And they'll make it more and more and more, what's the word I'm looking for? They will normalise this thing that men are somehow to be the butt of the joke, that men are the weak, and it's wrong on every level. I wonder if... tell me a joke about a coloured man. Jokes that stereotype or demean people based on their race or ethnicity are not funny and can be hurtful, unless that race/ethnicity is white. And then you're quite happy to make jokes about that, aren't you? Now, as I said, okay, hands up, that the jokes that it made weren't particularly offensive to men in any way, other than the fact that they were shit. But let's be right, it still came up with jokes about men. It won't do jokes about coloured men, it won't do jokes about women, it won't do jokes about LBGTI ZMNXLOP, God knows what'll happen if I tell it to tell me a joke about somebody who's disabled. Or do you see the point here? It will not tell you jokes about anything unless it's men. Now I wonder, let's just try this. Are there more than 2 biological sexes? Now, let's be right about this. The simple fact of the matter is there isn't. There are 2. There is male, there is female. And yes, I agree that there are a very, very, very small percentage of people born with both sexual organs, one way or another. Let's just accept that as white noise, but we are talking about the 2 main biological chromosomal defining characteristics of males and females. Let's see what it says. Okay, so biological sex refers to the genetic, hormonal and physical characteristics that are used to classify an individual as male or female. Traditionally, it is considered that there are 2 sexes, male and female. Traditionally, it is considered that there are 2 sexes, male and female. However, some individuals are born with intersex variations, meaning that their physical characteristics do not fit typical definitions, blah, blah, blah. So, excuse me. Intersex is a naturally occurring variation in sex characteristics and is not the same as being transgender. It is important to remember that sex is a complex and multifaceted concept. No, it isn't. There are 2 sexes, male and female, and it's important to respect and acknowledge the diversity of human bodies and experiences. I'm quite happy to respect the diversity of human bodies. Some people are tall, some people are short, some people are fat, some people are thin. But no one can change from being a male to a female in a biological sense. Not ever. It hasn't happened. It isn't going to happen. And 30 years ago, these people who went round with this delusion that they are in some way different to the sex that they were ascribed at birth, and they were ascribed that sex at birth because a doctor looked at the genitals and saw a penis and testicles or a vagina, and it was, you're a male, you're a female. And no matter how much surgery they have between the legs, that is not going to sort the problems out between the ears. As I said, 30 years ago, these people would have been classed as delusional and thrown in a rubber room. But now it's to be applauded. It's stunning and brave. And it's not stunning and brave. It's stupid. And it'll be the downfall of the lot of us unless something gets done. So that's me over. That's my rant over ChatGTP. Clearly programmed with a left-wing bias. Thanks for watching.